How's it going, all you cool cats and commanders? This is Feca's first station build, and I'm going to explain kind of what you should do for your second station. I've been talking to a lot of people, or the people we brought in, a few friends of mine that have played the game, and one of the more confusing things they find with the game is what exactly do you do once you hit level 10? So I've just now created my second station, and I'll run through kind of the thought process of what I did, kind of where I went, and why I picked it. So when you come here to this building screen, a lot of people aren't recognizing there's actually this outpost screen up here. And this is actually probably the main factor of what I do when I choose a new station or like when I'm about to build a second station. So I go to this tier 4 up here, and I think I click off it on it. And it's these three right here are your tier 4 outposts. Now, in order to build them, you actually need 7 buildings of a certain type. And so this will actually matter kind of when you're building your buildings. And you should be thinking about it if you haven't done it with your first station. And so these kind of direct how I build my station. Now there's these three here. And the first one here is the mining colony. This is actually how you get a lot more resources. This is a big way of pumping out more. And what it's affected by is planets and moons. So you want to get as many planets and moons as you can. And so that might be something you're looking for if you want to build a mining colony station up. Now the second one is Habitation Dome. This one is dealing more with labor. In my personal opinion, in the beginning, I don't build a habitation dome, either in my first or second station. Especially right now, a lot of the ice fields, if you've seen on the map, are actually filled up by NPCs. So it's actually kind of hard to get like a really solid ice spot. As you see here, they're kind of a lot pretty filled by here. And also, you don't really have enough ships to really be worried about labor at the time. So in my opinion, it's much more beneficial if you're kind of looking for this kind of stuff. Just maybe sprinkle in some with your mining colony. And then the third option would be building your heavy ship assembly. And that's here. This is affected by moons, actually. So if you're thinking about building a heavy ship assembly, this is actually how you get, if you pair it with the organization, you'll get gunships. It's also how you get your recons, your destroyers, and your frigates. And they're much more powerful ships. The main limiting factor with this actually is the amount of resources. So you can't just keep building heavy ship assemblies. You kind of do need other stations to feed them. So this may seem really cool, and I think this is a big favorite one because it's how you get your gunships, how you can start destroying your first few stations. But you do need to think about how am I going to fund this. So personally for me, on my first station, I'll be going to heavy ship assembly. There's not a great location for, my starting spot isn't a great location for a mining facility or a hab dome. So, mining colony or a hab dome. So I'll be going with heavy ship assembly for this. In order to feed this, I've chosen to do with a mining colony as my second station. So I'll kind of go over how I chose my position. So if we go over here to now my second station, Terrapin, we see kind of here, I went into this arm here. This is where my alliance is kind of choosing to go. You'll see kind of pins all over the place. I highly recommend using those if you have it in your alliance, just for a little bit better coordination if you're not doing it in your Discord as well. So we chose to kind of go this arm, so that's where I'm choosing to go to. Definitely don't be afraid to go. We kind of call these arms, so we call these in-between areas pits. So here in Mono, might be somewhere else you see a few people going. There are also some pretty good spots out there that I'll go over here in a bit. But we go here to Terrapin. I've chosen this place because I wanted to go for mining colony. A mining colony at max carded, has a 3 range. Now, if you actually go look here in the building menu and you check it out, it'll go over and it'll say there's 1 range to start out with, radius of influx 1 hex. There's several cards and that go ahead and bump that up to 2 and then 3 if you card it correctly. So when you're looking for a mining colony spot, you're kind of putting your mouse somewhere and you're counting 3 spaces out. And I'll kind of go to the screen sometimes, or I'll take it to paint and I'll map out if it's really necessary. So this right here is actually, I'll put a pin and I'll do a personal pin just for myself. To say like, hey, this is where I'm going to build my mining colony, and I'll show you why I picked this spot. Mining. And this will kind of help you organize this kind of stuff. Personal pin. So right here, if you count out 3 spaces, and we'll go over to resource view. If you count out 3 spaces from here, you'll see that there is this planet with 72 metal, 24 gas, and 24 crystal. Labor doesn't matter for a mining colony, so you can kind of ignore that. And what we do is a point system. 24 is about the amount of a single node, and it's the lowest number, so we call that 1 point is 24. On this, there's actually 5 if you go there, or 6, 3 for 72, and then 2 more for the other 2. So that's actually 5 points there, and I kind of record that. All right, that's 5 points, and that's a 1, 2, 3. I want to place it here. I'll show pins again, because it's in this one. Display map pins. It's just not showing up. It'd probably be scrolled in or out. So you can just memorize it. And then 1, 2, 3. This is another exact same one. I know this is another 5, and 1, 2, 3. And so I know this is another 5. So this is a 15-point mining colony spot. And it's somewhere I consider pretty good if you're not taking out NPCs yet. You're going to be hard pressed to find past a 15. You might squeak out a 16 if you add in maybe a moon somewhere. In the arms. Now this is once again for a mining colony. If you're going for an HSA, I would consider looking for somewhere that has maybe a large moon or 2 medium moons, maybe a large moon and a small moon. And if you look at that, we'll go look at that specifically. Because if we look at that, how the heavy ship assembly specifically works is you get 1% per level. There's 5 levels, so you'll be going 5%, or up here 15% if you're getting the large moons. Now, if you can stack them, the ability still stacks. So if you got 2 large moons, it'd be plus 30% ship build speed. So you're gonna be cranking those bad boys out. So if we can look for somewhere like an area like that, I've noticed in these pits, there's a lot more moons. Now, this is a new map for us, too, so, I'm not always 100% on some of this stuff, but it's a pretty good guideline. If we look already immediately, I'm finding that's a normal one. Let's see. Relation departing from human resource view. Yeah, here we go. Misty Moon and Volcanic Moon. That's 2 medium moons. Medium one doesn't say it. Small says it. Large says it. So that would be, 2% bonus for each of these. So we're looking at 2% times 5 is 10 to 20% bonus for having these 2 medium moons. You can throw in a planet. That's pretty solid. Something I just helped one of my other friends point out was a position that was pretty good for both a mining colony or a heavy ship assembly. Was kind of over here. Now, this is just somewhere you're looking randomly in a pit. It's kind of near a sun, which is good if you're harvesting solar flares. And if you actually put a station or a mining colony here, maybe put a station over here or something. If you look, these desert moons actually have no labor, which means it's fantastic for a mining colony, right? And there's 2 of them here. So just between these 2, that's 6 points. This is another 6 points. That's 12 points. And you're actually able to get these moons in here. If you put a mining colony here, 1, 2, 3, you get both of these moons, another 2 points, another 2 points. You're just not able to get that one. So here's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So actually being out here in the pitch, you can get a 16 point mining colony. Also, if you are interested in clustering or something like that, down the road, if you want to think about your 3rd station as well, you can put your 3rd station maybe over here, drop an HSA here, and you got 2 medium moons as well. I think over here we might even have a large and a medium, if I remember correctly. I know it's definitely possible to get a large and a medium kind of here in the earlier parts. You can look for, multiple larges, multiple smalls, and there's tons of room out here. Now, if you're either a solo player or a small alliance, I highly recommend coming out here, and that's a medium and a small. And come on, can we get one? I highly recommend coming out here into these more pit areas as alliances, especially alliance like mine's, kind of going here for a Dyson sphere. Of course, if you like the challenge, come over there. But if you're trying to avoid the challenge, these areas right here are fairly safe and honestly fairly good. You'll hear that these are the high resource areas. However, it's going to show you can get some pretty decent areas compared to these areas because these areas have high resources. However, they're locked behind these NPC gates. So I just want to kind of put this out here. I've gotten these questions a lot. What do I do for my 2nd station? And I really think these things come into play. Now, I want to add one quick little tip as well. A lot of people aren't saving up their tasks. When you recognize you're coming up on maybe level 8 or 9, save up your tasks and go ahead and wait for it. And as soon as your 2nd station drops, you can drop all your tasks in your 2nd station, so you'll actually have some resources when you land. This is on top of when you turn to level 10, make sure you don't forget this, because I saw several people in the test server before this, just warming up, that didn't realize you get this card right here. This is the plus 50% build speed and 50% deploy speed when you're for 3 days. This is helping launching your 2nd station out here. Don't get caught on a 3-day trip. This actually took me, I think, 3.5 hours or something like that to kind of get from here to there. So I hope this got a little bit more of a clear picture of what we're thinking on our side. Maybe this is something that you want to pick up. So have a great one, guys. Bye.